Hello, my workshop chums. Welcome to an MG is Born. Now, we've been very busy over the last 5 days cutting out the rusty old bodywork from the MG cell. We've had a lot of fun, but there has been a lot to cut out. Now, poor old Les decided that he was a bit worried we wouldn't end up with a car. So he adopted an old workshop trick for apprentices, which is to stick a broom through the boiler suit. And let me tell you, it works. Can I have my tea now? This is the basic B-Series engine. It's already been bored out, plus 40. Come on, join in.
Oh, the engine.
Taking the cam out has been the trickiest part. Uno, dos, tres. Hey, we are making progress. Aha! Yes, the old broom trick worked very nicely indeed. It stopped me going completely mental with the old tools and cutting out too much bodywork. But you can see a fair amount has gone. The whole floor pan on this side has gone. Originally, we didn't think we'd have to change that, but it had a few holes in, so we had to take it out. Plus, all the sills have gone, obviously. And the process is a very long and laborious, noisy and dirty one. What you have to do is drill or grind out all the spot welds and then chisel off the remaining metal to come down to the bare surface that you'll weld to again. This also shows here, now the floor's gone very nicely, this integral chassis within the monocoque, because this is the front chassis rail on this side and the floor sits on top of it, and this is part of the cross member. We've had to cut out the bit that goes out to sills. We'll be replacing that. So, last bit to do in here before we can start tacking new bits on is down here to remove the remaining bit of the floor pan metal. You can see there's two thicknesses there. So, first grinding, then chiselling. One new floor pan, very nice indeed. And look, when you get these repair panels, some of them, and this one included, you get a bit of a big lip on here, which is quite nice, because you can either choose to get rid of it, or it can act as a repair panel where it fits to other panels. It drops in here, like so. And this is the first panel we need to put in to try and line stuff up before we start tack welding them in place. So that all slots in there quite nicely, but we have identified a bit of a problem, because down here, where this B-post comes down here and joins where the sill's going to be, this should be at the same level as this. And for some reason, it's all sunk down. Now, you can see we put in two different braces. The idea of having a brace, which we thought we could have as an adjustable brace in there, didn't work. So we've welded in two pieces of box section in there. But it seems that this side has dropped down. So Les and I are going to have to play with this a little bit to try and make everything fit before we then start tack welding the sills on. But it's nice, isn't it, to get one new panel in. That sits up there. Yeah. That's not bad. It's got to come up a long way. As you can see, the problem with this is that experienced people who work on MGs all the time will have faced this problem a million times over, but once you take the strength out of the car by taking the sills out and then taking the floor pan out, things will move, and even if you brace it like this, clearly we've still ended up with problems, but you just got to solve them. Well, that's all right. So with the door back on and the inner sill in place, things are becoming a little bit clearer, but we're going to put the outer sill on, then Cleco the inner sill and the outer sill together so that we can then see how this lies in relation to the door gap underneath the door. And I'm confident, so confident in fact, that I've raised my flaps on my hat, and that shows that I'm Happy Bunny. So shall we put that on, Les mate?
Yes.
If that sits out like that...
That just needs to twist. Like that.
Like that, and it's OK, isn't it? Because actually what's fooling us here, look, is how... This is what's fooling us. I've discovered what is fooling us. This lip here is deeper because of this drop. Well, you know we were saying this has to be level with this. It doesn't. It is slightly lower. Have I convinced you? Ish.
Bit dubious,
okay,
but yeah, I'll accept it.
I'm convinced. I'm half convinced, so I'm going to put one flap down.
If the door fits, I'm convinced.
The big test is whether the door gap is going to be right between here and the sill. Now, that will need to come up to about there, but that's not bad at all, is it? So, it is coming together very nicely at the moment. What we've got in is the floor pan here and the inner sill. That's all sitting very nicely indeed. The next thing to go on, just to check everything fits, is the castle rail. But because it's a Newcastle rail, we're calling it a castle rail, because it would be a Newcastle rail, wouldn't it, Les? Can you get the other end of it, rather than just lounging around like a big meat pie? So you can see now this structural kind of integrity of this, because this is this front chassis rail here. The cross member will come out across there and then sit on the bottom of the castle rail.
Castle.
It's all coming together. So that's... Happy with that? You've clamped it at the back?
Yep.
I don't need to clamp it at the front, really, do I? So that's in the right place. Next goes the outer sill. Now, there will be another part of the sill, a diaphragm, that will go in there, but we'll put that in later. For now, we just want to make sure everything else lines up. Back your way, Les. That's going to be something like right, isn't it? Shall we clico that back in place? Just close that up and check it again. I think that's pretty good. Now, we are dead chuffed with this because all these panels are meeting as they should by the B-post here. But the big test, as ever with an MG, is to make sure the door fits properly and the gap is good all the way around. So I've got my sturdy drill here as my gauge, and if I run this across here, it should just touch the sides as it comes down. Absolutely spot on. So it's taken us an hour of fiddling, but we've got there. Next job is to start tack welding these in place, and the first one to tack weld in is going to be the inner sill. So we just